As for introduction, what is global warming? Since 1900, the global average surface temperature has increased by about 0.8 degrees Celsius, which has occurred in the last 4 decades and shown that the warming during this period is mainly a result of the increased concentration of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. Past climate change led to extinction of many species, population migrations, and pronounced changes in the land surface and ocean circulation. Continued emissions of these gases will cause further climate change, including substantial increase in global average surface temperature and important changes in the regional climate. Atmospheric concentration of greenhouse gases since pre-industrial times has been caused by human activities, mostly the burning of fossil fuels. Change in species interaction. Climate change causes extinction not only as a result of species intolerance to high temperature, but also alter a species' interaction with other species. Climate change was found to typically lead to local extinction and declines by influencing interactions between species, such as reducing prey populations for predators. Changes to activity times of interacting species due to changes in different cues such as temperature and photoperiods. From plants and crustaceans to birds and mammals, species across the food chain are shifting how they respond to seasonal changes. Ecological niche. In a subdivision of the habitat containing the environmental conditions that enable individuals of a species to survive and reproduce. Climate change may soon threaten much of global biodiversity, especially if species cannot adapt to changing conditions quickly enough. Given rapid climate change, a species' present climatic niche may no longer occur within its current geographical range. Therefore, survival for many species may depend on how quickly their climatic niches can shift.
Global warming issues. The Earth's temperature has risen about 1 degree Fahrenheit in the last century. The past 50 years of warming has been attributed to human activities. During the past 100 years, global sea levels have risen 4 to 8 inches. Burning fuels such as coal, natural gas, and oil produces greenhouse gases in excessive amounts. Greenhouse gases are emissions that rise into the atmosphere and trap the sun's energy, keeping heat from escaping. The United States was responsible for 20% of the global greenhouse gases emitted in 1997. Most of the world's emissions are attributed to the United States' large-scale use of fuels in vehicles and factories. Some predictions for local changes include increasingly hot summers and intense thunderstorms. Damaging storms, droughts, and related weather phenomena cause an increase in economic and health problems. Warmer weather provides breeding grounds for insects such as malaria-carrying mosquitoes. In 1999, West Nile virus, which originated in Uganda and is spread by mosquitoes, killed 7 in New York City. In 2014, another mosquito-borne virus called chikungunya, which means bending over in pain in the Makonde language of East Africa, afflicted 12 Florida residents. A senior of Natural Resources Defense Council, Kim Knowlton, explains that a longer warm weather season and changing rainfall patterns are allowing the insects that can transmit disease to humans to thrive for longer periods each year, and to simultaneously move into broader areas.
So one of the example is Vanessa atalanta, or also known as red admiral butterfly. It is widely distributed across temperate regions in North America, Europe, Asia, the Caribbean, and New Zealand. It usually resides in warmer areas but migrate north in spring and sometimes again in autumn. So the mating of these species of butterflies usually occur in late fall or early winter, following collective migration to southern regions with a warmer climate. Its main host plant, the stinging needle, is most abundant during this migration. So larval development proceeds through the winter, and adults are first sighted in early spring. The new generation of adults migrate north before mating because food usually diminishes by late spring. So climate change has disrupted the natural order of these butterflies. Spring temperature in central England between 1976 and 1998 increased by 1.5 degrees Celsius, while summer temperature increased by 1 degree Celsius. Following this 22-year period of warming, the red admiral appeared 6 weeks earlier in the year. As reported by Sparks in 2005, the red admiral butterfly in Britain migrates and arrives early even before the host plant, which is the stinging needle, flowered.
So, how the climate change changes the ecological natures of the environment, especially in the animals. The world is changing rapidly because of the cascading and intertwined effect of human population growth, widespread poverty, economic globalization, land use change, and blooming over it, climate change. These changes are having profound effects on biological diversity of the ecological niches. The ecological niches theory describes how future climate change may have an impact on species and their habitats. And then the niche containing the environmental conditions that enable individuals of a species to survive and reproduce. For example, the warm condition may cause the ice to melt, which then change temperature and then make it suitable for the mosquito to live, which many species known as vectors of disease. This could also transfers the disease around the world. Therefore, the species can respond to climate change by shifting distribution to follow the changing environments. They also by adapting to the changing condition into place, or if unable to do either, by remaining in isolated pockets of unchanged environment, or more likely becoming extinct. Besides that, the climate change also is expected to impact most parts of an ecosystem. The species will be able to disperse to suitable environment conditions that meet their niche requirement. Another example is the migration of some bird species may be changed, thus affect the balance of ecosystem, since they lose of their food resources, and also could lead to the extinction and disease dying. And then the example of breeding land birds in the California, the distributional shift may be affected by the climate change. The study also concluded the vegetation distribution of soup have relation with climate, solar radiation, soils, and topography. So as the conclusion, the climate change is most likely change the whole environment in the world, such as the high level of sea, the melting of the ice that could impact the many mammals and other animals in their natural habitats.
The effect of altering of seasons is impact life cycle of flora and fauna. Altering of season has the potential affect crops, plants, and animals. Animals and plants have adapted their life cycle like birth, growth, reproduction, and others to the season and resource availability. For example, plants in temperate regions are adapted to use temperature to tell the season. This is how they know when to produce flower and fruit. As daily temperature cycles become more extreme, it becomes harder for plants to behave appropriately to the season. Therefore, plants might produce flowers too early or too late, and so there might be some years where certain fruit never appear. Secondly, it will affect the migration or hibernating pattern of animals. Some animals, like migratory birds, have developed behavior to cope with winter conditions, to conserve energy and deal with food scarcity by migrating to a warmer climate or hibernating. Both migration and hibernation are sensitive to weather and climate, and climate change poses a challenge to migratory and hibernating species. Besides, the change of season also affects the population size. For example, the Siberian hamster. During long winter days, the Siberian hamster testes increase to almost 17 times their size during short days. We can conclude that the possibility of having child is increased. Other than that, the change of season also affects the extinction rate of particular species, as they cannot adapt themselves into the temperature. Lastly, ecosystem unbalance is another effect of the altering of season. This happens because some of the plants and animals will die because of the temperature, and this may cause the food scarcity and affect the food web or food chain in a particular ecosystem.
So, how do we stop global warming from harming our ecosystem? First of all, we can plant more trees, as trees will reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in the air. Temperature can be maintained or reduced with the drop of the amount of carbon dioxide in the air, and thus, the growth of mosquitoes can be controlled. Besides that, we can reduce pollution by living sustainably. Use less plastics can reduce the amount of plastics pollution in the environment, while practicing carpool can reduce the carbon footprint. With the effect of global warming being minimized, the balance of the ecosystem can be maintained. Awareness of the effect of global warming to the environment and ecosystem can also be induced to the public by organizing activities and talks in public areas. In conclusion, global warming can cause a lot of threats to the environment and ecosystem, such as species extinction and diseases outbreak. Thus, efforts must be taken to counter the problem, not just by the government and NGOs, but also by every citizen living in the country, so that the world can be a better place.